Now we'll come across the room, and here we have a business memorabilia display. Most of this display is courtesy of Tom Riggle. He has an absolutely wonderful collection of Beavertown business memorabilia. And he actually had the forethought to get many of these people who owned the businesses to actually sign the items that he got from them. Very good forethought on his part. Some really nice items here, a very good representation of the Beavertown businesses over the years. We thank him very much for bringing these items in for display. And he continuously collects these even from modern businesses, which eventually will pay in its dividends as time goes on and they become rare items themselves. Next on display are some banners and a hat and a diploma from both Beaver Vocational High School and the Beavertown High School itself as it existed. We also have Lulu Sailor, Lulu Stump. You may have watched her interview on beavertownnews.com. That's her high school diploma. Now in the aisle we do have a few items that we need to mention here. First one, this is a peanut roaster, and this peanut roaster was from Keller's store, a confectionery store on Center Street. This was donated by Paul Hassinger. And then we have a Kearns buggy seat from the Kearns Buggy Factory. They did manufacture buggies to be drawn by horses before they got into the automobile industry. This was also brought in by Paul Hassinger. Next we have a biscuit box that came from Keller's store and a clothing display rack from the same store. Again, these are courtesy of Paul Hassinger. This big item in the center is actually a water pipe. This is one of the original water pipes that was put in Beavertown after the reservoir was dug in order to deliver water down to the residences. And if you look, you can see this pipe is made out of wood. Wooden staves wrapped with steel and covered with tar. Very interesting. And it's really quite amazing that this piece has survived the years. And finally in the center on display is the actual box used by Charles Bingman, who was our very first rural mail carrier here in Beavertown somewhere around the year 1900. He would take the mail out using his horse and buggy. His horse's name was Sadie. And this is the box that he sorted the mail into. As you can imagine, there mustn't have been very much mail. Now we'll come down to the last table in the main display. Some Beaver items, elementary memorabilia here brought in by Nancy Gallagher. Very nice stuff, brings back some memories to those of us who went to school there. And then we come to the railroad coupler display. This link, brought in by Dave Hassinger, is the type of link that was originally used on the trains in order to couple the cars. And if you look at this photo of the steam engine, you can see the link on the very front. The problem with these links was, in order to hitch them up, a man had to get between the cars while they backed up to each other, and then he had to drop a pin in. As you can guess, this was quite dangerous. Many people had crushed hands, and some even lost their lives while hitching up train cars. And because of that, a Beavertown resident, Mr. Klingler, known as 91 Klingler, he invented the train coupler as we know it today. And donated here by Fred Lurch for our display is an amazing collection of the wooden prototypes that Mr. Klingler made in order to create his patent for this train coupler. Absolutely amazing pieces here, handmade out of wood, that would assemble into a working train coupler device. And as you can see here, Mr. Klingler had this coupling patented. And due to some circumstances of poor judgment and perhaps a bit of bad luck, he never ended up making a whole lot of money from this invention. And you can read more about that story on Beavertownnews.com. Very interesting, very nice collection here by Mr. Fred Lurch. Next in line we have some photos and items here from the old Beavertown brick plant, which later became part of Glengarry Brick. And some miscellaneous historic photos. Very interesting to look at some of these old photos. That's an especially interesting postcard. Russell Goss also brought some land deeds and indentures for us to look at. Very nice pieces here. The Bubb family. Good Beavertown name. And back here in the last table, we again have some more photos. These old photos here were actually donated to the Historical Society from the Spake family. Show some Beavertown landmarks over the years. There's Bubb's store. Some of the baseball teams. And a few photo albums from the Historical Society, including photos from 1976's Bicentennial and Beavertown businesses throughout the years. In fact, this right here is the Wise Pure Food store, one of the first Wise stores right here in Beavertown. And of course we have our celebrity, Bucky the Beaver. He graces us with his presence every New Year's Eve and helps us welcome in the new year. And what would a show be without some souvenirs? There are some Crocs here that are for sale. These Crocs are benefiting the library, any sales of them. Very nice. We have some items from past years. Some Beaver Dam Township memorabilia, wooden nickels and buttons. Skimmer caps. We have a few plates from 1976. What a nice find for a collector if they wanted to get one of those. They're for sale here. And some of the 1976 books. We also have some 2010 memorabilia. We have t-shirts and sweatshirts and golf shirts. Some custom wrapped candy bars. You've got a sweet tooth. And some very nice Beavertown hats in various colors. We also offered our Beavertown Bicentennial book, which completely sold out on day one of the show. But as you can see, these are nice hardbound copies of Out in Camp's story of what it was like to grow up in Beavertown at around the turn of the century. And there you have it, folks. That is the 2010 historic show. One additional thing that I didn't point out to you was that in the back of the room we have a television. And on that television, during the show, we have been playing some of Rudy Coleman's old home movies from the 1930s and 1940s. And those will also be viewable on Beavertownnews.com. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you didn't get a chance to make it out, this will at least let you know what we had on display. And make sure you mark your calendars. In the year 2014 will be the borough's centennial. That will mark 100 years of Beavertown being a borough, and we will do this again, and perhaps even on a grander scale. So mark your calendar and come out and see us in 2014. But for now, that is the Beavertown Bicentennial 2010 Historic Show.